Nova Kooks.
Hello. We need just a few moments of your time.
There might be lots of flotsam and jetsam around, so, if you go out on a busy Saturday, there's going to be 100 boards floating around with people on them.
I mean, you made it this far. Why not keep driving for 3 more hours and come visit Cape Breton?
That's like looking into a mirror.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
Welcome, listener. You're listening to Nova Kooks, Episode 5. We are 4 East Coast surfers that don't take ourselves too seriously when it comes to surfing or other things, hence our name, the Nova Kooks. In this podcast, you will hear us talk about surfing on the East Coast of Canada and hear some funny surf stories from our inexperience along the way. This podcast is meant to not only take you on our surf journey, but to also explore personal growth, adventure, and the world around us, including pop culture and other topics. Today's episode is a Nova Scotia Beach episode. We will dedicate our discussion to our top 4 favorite spots or beaches in Nova Scotia that are great for starting out to surf. We've each picked one to highlight, and the rest of us will add other information as we go along. We will also give some honourable mentions to a few other great spots. Also, some warnings of places that are for more experienced surfers. Before we begin, I am Jared, and I will be your host. I am seated with Charles, Josh, and David.
I have several questions I want you to consider.
To start off the beach episode today, I have prepared a warm-up question. As we are going to discuss Nova Scotia beaches today, I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite beach of all time? The best beach in the world that you've been to?
Yeah, okay, great. Well, I would say that one of the best beaches I've ever been to would be a beach in Costa Rica near Montezuma. It's not a very populated place, and jungle right up to white sand and goes for as far as the eye can see. I would also put some Nova Scotia beaches in there. For instance, I don't know the exact name of the beach, but up near Aspy Bay in the Cape Breton Highlands, near North Mountain, there is a beach there that is, you'll go with no one on it, with the mountains there, and absolutely gorgeous.
Was it North Harbor Beach?
Probably, yeah.
Of?
Probably that one,
Okay,
yeah.
Up north there. So yeah, it's a huge beach.
Gorgeous.
And like you could have the whole beach to yourself. It's pretty
Yeah.
incredible.
Where?
It's in northern Cape Breton.
So I would say Phuket in Thailand. I'm blanking on the name, but I'm pretty sure it's called Koh Phi Phi Island is where the beach is. I'm thinking of. It's beautiful. It's very cool.
I will say, my family would spend a lot of time in Florida, as I've said before in the podcast, growing up, and we would spend a lot of time like in Tampa, but then eventually we started spending time in this place close to Sarasota, Venice, and there's this place, it's on Manasota Key, and it's, I think it's actually Manasota Key Beach, but there's this other one down the road that I would say is my favorite, and they're all connected. The whole Manasota Key is just one long beach, and my favorite access point would be Stump Pass. I just love every aspect of it. You can rent longboards, you can rent jet skis, and it's so fun when you have to go park. You gotta like wait for like half an hour for a little spot to open up, and it's so much fun to go there. To like I used to go for like super long beach walks along Manasota Key and look for shark's teeth, fossilized shark's teeth. Pretty fun. That's my favorite beach. Charles, yeah.
A shout out to some Cape Breton beaches. So where I'm from, I would have grown up close to Dominion Beach, which would have been a beach that I spent a lot of time with as a child. And basically Cape Breton coal mining, so there's coal dust like mixing in with the sand there. So it's maybe not the prettiest beach, but yeah, a lot of great memories there. Kennington Cove, which is near Lewisburg, is a great beach. sometimes there's a bit of surf there. I would have spent a lot of time there when I was a teenager. And probably my favorite beach is Ingonish Beach in northern Cape Breton. So a lot of great memories, a great beach to be hanging out on in the night and, the stars shining.
Nice. I think an honorable mention would also be Paul's Cove Beach.
Oh, yes. Good call.
Yeah. Remember that one day we went there? We hiked into Paulet's Cove. There's wild horses. It's a beautiful place to camp. And the beach is really nice. It's on the Northumberland Straits, so the water in the summertime is super warm. And do you remember the first time we went, there was like a pod of whales, and we could hear them singing under the water.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was magical, yeah.
Paulet's Cove is like this place in Nova Scotia. Like you hike to it, and then you come out into this clearing and walk down to the beach. And when you're in the water looking back on the land or the area you're camping in, it's like one of those scenes from a movie where you like walked behind the waterfall and there's this different world or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of Nova Scotia, but it's like, I don't know, in reverse.
You ever see the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
Is that what you just said that? Or?
No, a fun fact though, I watched the movie The Beach on the beach it was filmed on in a bar.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's like looking into a mirror.
Uh-huh.
But I find that after that 10-kilometer hike, it's not for the faint of heart into Paulet's Cove with all the gear on your back. I when it opened up, it really did feel like a reveal, like in the movie when they get to see the beach for the first time. I know it's different, but for me,
it's very similar.
Wow, this is just such a beautiful place.
Oh yeah, it's an incredible cove. There's a river that runs through it, and it's enclosed by like the Highland Mountains. It's a very special place.
Also, a river runs through it. Great film.
For the next section and the rest of the episode, we want to talk about Nova Scotia beaches for those people that want to visit Nova Scotia or those people that are living in Nova Scotia wanting to know what's a great spot to start surfing. So we're going to talk about beaches and also highlight other things around that area and discuss each area. We've all picked what we think is the 4 best places to start surfing.
Where do I begin?
And we're going to start off with the most famous spot in Nova Scotia to start surfing, Lawrencetown, with Dave.
Yeah, Lawrencetown Beach. So it would be the one that probably most Canadians or maybe East Coasters, New Englanders would know by name. It probably has the most sort of surf infrastructure, if you will, in terms of parking, and also all the surf schools are tending to have more trailers set up with all the gear at the beach. It's got and also the real brick and mortar surf shops nearby. Your Cannon Beaches and your Lawrencetown Surf Company is there, and so I guess that's probably the one where if you flew in and said I want to go learn to surf, most people would probably say go to Lawrencetown Beach. It's a pretty large beach, and there's lots of areas where you can surf. Now, if you're a beginner surfer, you're probably going to want to go sort of mid beach.
Yeah.
And
there's a bit of a beach break if you.
Yeah. Find a little gentler wave where it's a little more gentle, and there is a reef, and it'll allow you to sort of stay away from sort of probably the places where there's more experienced surfers. Obviously, when you're first starting out, you don't want to get in people's way or do anything that's going to cause any health risk to you or anyone else. So I would probably say Lawrencetown Beach, and it's also a gorgeous beach. There's also really great walking trails nearby. There's a rails to trails that you can bike on and walk on. And nearby there's a huge, beautiful lake, Porter's Lake, which is also has a provincial park and a place to camp. And it's all within 15, 20 minutes of downtown Halifax, probably. So I would choose Lawrencetown just for all of the infrastructure, the ease of getting the gear, and there'd be lots of people out, so you'd kind of be able to take a lesson if you wanted to, and for all the natural beauty nearby, and it's just central location to Halifax. For all those reasons, I would say Lawrencetown would be a great place for a beginner surfer.
And there's also there's a new surf shop. There's lots of good surf shops with people there that have lots of great expertise.
Absolutely.
Nico is a pro surfer in Nova Scotia that owns the Lawrencetown surf shop. But also Cannon Beach is a great spot too, which is in this like awesome yellow building everybody calls the tea house. And they have a nice cafe there. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah,
it's always that nice. We're talking about reveals earlier, but when you're getting close to Lawrencetown and kind of like when you're getting there is when you see that giant yellow building off in the distance, and then kind of when you go past it and you come down into the beach there. It's
nice to go over that hill and then look down the beach, and lovely.
I also find what's good about personally for me with Lawrencetown. You get that good, beach break, great for beginners, but also intermediates can go off to the left. There's the reef. And then when you get more experienced and more advanced, there's like 2 spots on the point that are pretty good to try out.
Yeah, so you can challenge yourself, obviously, but great place to learn to surf. And the only other, the caveat being that it can be a very busy place because of all the things that I mentioned. So there might be lots of floatsome and jetsam around. So, bumping into people.
What does that?
Yeah. Well, boards floating around. Like if you go out on a busy Saturday, there's going to be 100 boards floating around with people on them. So, so for all the good reasons to go there, if you're looking for your own spot and you're wary of people and having a bit of safe space around, it can sometimes not provide that.
I also know that Lawrencetown is the first. I think that might be the first beach that you stood up on a wave, isn't it, Charles?
Yeah, that's where I learned to surf. Yeah,
it's the same place my daughter learned how to surf. She stood up on her first wave at Lawrencetown.
Next, please.
But moving right along up that road, following the coastline up Nova Scotia, the next place we got is Martinique Beach. Josh, do you want to talk about Martinique Beach for a little while?
Sure.
We'll add to it, of course.
I would say that Martinique is my favorite place to go. It's a little bit of everything. We talked about Lawrencetown already. Lawrencetown is nice because it's close, it's convenient. You can get there, you can do some surf. Yeah, close to Halifax. Yeah. Martinique's a bit more of a commitment. It's in Musquedamet or Musquedubois,
which is about
45 minutes
from Halifax.
Yeah. So it's obviously a commitment, but like the drive it's nice once you get out there. It's kind of a little twisty road to get to the actual beach. So it's a pretty nice drive. You kind of like prep yourself as you're going, listen to some tunes, which we talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah.
When I was giving the examples of the songs I'd listen to, that's the road I pictured as I was thinking about it. And the surf out there just never really seems to let you down. Like as long as you're following the app, of course, which is Magic Seaweed. We mentioned that before. But just you get there. We're always there in the morning. We tend to go. The 4 of us surf as a group typically, or at least 2 of us are together, and we're out there by, I guess 5:45, 5:50, somewhere in there. And so you get there. The sun's coming up. You check the waves out. Get dressed, and by the time you're walking to the beach and get out there, you're in the midst of the sunrise, catching waves, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, it's one long beach break, so even if there's a lot of people there, there's still room for you.
Well, nobody's there when we're there, but there's definitely room, absolutely, and it doesn't tend to be as packed, I would say. Well, at those times, I mean, there's certainly a lot of people that go to Martinique, but if you're there for the surfing, it's there's
even
room
in the
for you.
busiest days of August, which is like beach season in Nova Scotia, I find like even when people are parking outside of the beach and have to walk like over a kilometer just to get into the beach, there's still tons of room for you to surf.
Yeah, it's an incredible beach, and it's so long. It's a beautiful place to stroll as well. But in terms of like comparing it to Lawrencetown, even when it's busy, nowhere as busy as Lawrencetown, and it's becoming more common to do lessons out there. There's always people there with gear that you can rent if you want to try it out.
There's 2 or 3 companies. I know one surf company just built a really good spot to hold all their boards, just right at close to the entrance to the beach.
There's actually an incredible, if you have some money, there's like an incredible beach house at the top of the beach that you can rent out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like is it on Airbnb?
I would assume so.
It probably is, but it's gorgeous.
I was at
Yeah.
Martinique yesterday. I think it's all
I
of
was
our
there
favorite.
on Sunday.
Yeah, it's our favorite place. It's such a great spot.
And nice sandy bottom. There's no big rocks. So yeah, I mean, if you had time and you're learning to surf, I'm telling someone to go to Martinique most times.
And that's where we saw that school pod of porpoises.
The pod of porpoises.
Pod?
Yeah, that's that day.
Porpoise
that was
pod.
amazing.
And I find like as a beach break, it's more forgiving than Lawrencetown.
Mm-hmm.
With Lawrencetown, you kind of have to time things properly with the tide.
Also, for people that are interested in visiting these beaches, we should also talk. Lawrencetown has like the most amount of facilities. I know that could be a big question. There's lots of change houses and bathrooms at Lawrencetown. At Martinique, that Josh just talked about, there are change houses and outhouses as well. Something important to add.
Mm-hmm.
Also at Martinique, it's in Musquodoboit Harbor, not to be confused with Middle or Upper Musquodoboit, which is more inland Nova Scotia. One thing my family loves to do when we're done a beach day, in the summertime, there's a little ice cream shop that's open right next to this awesome little train museum. Definitely like highly suggest grabbing a scoop of ice cream after the beach. And if it's around a mealtime, across the street from that is fish and chips. Really good fish and chips. I think it's just called Musquodoboit Fish and Chips, but it's a little red shack off the road shop that like you can't miss it. And definitely like go get yourself a 2-piece fish and chips. It's so good.
Yeah, good call. And great again with the rails to trails, but really nice trails out there.
The Admiral Lake Loop.
Yeah.
Skull Rock.
Skull Rock is such a great, you get such an amazing view.
Musquodoboit River's kind of winding up and some good vantage points. So
yeah,
lovely.
And Skull Rock, I'd say Skull Rock's like an hour-long hike, really. Like,
I think a round trip with Skull Rock is 5K.
yeah, it's not bad. My daughter was 6 when she did it and had no problem. Had no problem.
Next, please.
And that takes us, we'll keep going up the road, sort of northeast, right? Up the road to the next beach, which is also an amazing beach for starting to surf, Clam Harbor. Clam Harbor is a really cool spot. The water it's really inland, so the water's, I find, is a little bit warmer. It's really good for beginners because the waves are always soft. And surfers say soft. It means that they're not very aggressive. You're not going to get rolled over. You're not going to have a hard time getting out there. And it's a good beach break. Not a lot of experienced surfers are going to enjoy Clam Harbor as much, which is why we've put it on the list, because it's such a great beginner surf spot. And while you're driving up the road past Musquodoboit Harbor, you're going to pass this really cool place. It's my favorite part of the drive. It's halfway between the Musquodoboit Harbor where Martinique is and Clam Harbor. It's called Salmon River. It's this really cool little like spot where like these 2 mountain hills kind of turn into this valley, and there's this river, and there's a little motel that's kind of plotted along this big hill, and it's just this beautiful place. And there's a German schnitzel house that is really, really good, and I highly suggest stopping in. Like I drove by it a whole bunch of times thinking, that's so random, but no, really nice people, really good food. And also, if you keep going up the road from Clam Harbor a little bit more, you'll hit this really cool beach that's not good for surf because it's too inland. There's no waves. Well, they're on a really big day, but it's called Taylor Head. amazing trails on Taylor Head. You go out on this really cool path. You could spend a whole day at Taylor Head just hiking around, and the beach. It's the blue of that beach. It's almost Caribbean. It's amazing. If the tide's in, there's a really cool rock you can like jump off of. It's a nice little place.
That's a great area. Some great camping out there too. Norse Cove, Murphy's Camping.
That's right.
And the 100 Wild Islands.
That's right. Yeah. I heard about you can like rent paddle boards at some place and paddle around those islands. And I know a lot of people that have like camped on some of them.
Yep.
On the right day, obviously, like you don't want to get stuck out there. You got to be careful, but
you want that north wind blowing the fog out to sea on those days. Yes.
And also, if you want to keep going north, you can also hit Sheet Harbor. You can also
Sober Island.
You can also hit Sheet Harbor and try some craft beer at Sober Island.
And some oysters.
At this point, you're like an hour and 20 minutes from the city, but if you're up there, as we say in Nova Scotia, mazel, may as well.
Next, please.
And if you keep going north, Charles, I know you're antsy.
Exactly, yeah. Why not? I mean, you made it this far. Why not keep driving for 3 more hours and come visit Cape Breton?
Basil.
Yep.
So in Cape Breton, near St. Peter's, it's on the eastern side of the island, is the beach, Point Michaud Beach. So it's in this Acadian community. And that would be the main surf beach in Cape Breton. So you're kind of, if you know the geography, you're about an hour away from Port Hawkesbury. You're probably about an hour and a half away from Sydney. So it's a bit in the middle of nowhere. St. Peter's is a little town. So you're driving through St. Peter's, you get the turn off to Point Michaud. It's about 20 minutes down the road until you get to the beach there. But yeah, absolute beautiful sandy beach. Almost this half circle crescent shape and length. And when you arrive there, basically where the parking lot is, that is the area that you can surf in. It's a gentle beach break. Surfing is becoming more popular in Cape Breton, but you'll never have an issue in terms of it being overcrowded in terms of surfing. The only thing to be mindful of is that when it is swimming season, you definitely want to stay out of the way of the areas that the lifeguards have blocked off there for the swimmers. But that would be a great beach to start at. You'd have, lots of spots on the beach to yourself. And anytime that I've been out there, it's just been kind of like gentle, clear waves, great for longboarding and some like nice smooth rides. And that whole beach is pretty incredible. I mean, you could spend a good hour strolling it. In terms of the area around there, so it's not really an area that I think people typically think about in terms of like Nova Scotia. You'll typically kind of think about, the more urban areas like Sydney, or you want to check out Louisbourg. And then of course the Highlands are beautiful. And there are some beaches up there that you can surf, but the conditions have to be right. Point Michaud is definitely more consistent. And the thing that's nice is that it's on Magic Seaweed, so you can always check the app. In terms of rentals, there's like a little shop there that they set up in the summertime. And I think they might have like a couple of surfboards and then like some bodyboards that you can rent. But definitely if you're planning on going surfing, I would recommend picking up something in Halifax if you're doing a rental and taking it with you. And around that area outside of St. Peter's, there's Isle Madame, which is, so it's like an island off the way. There's a lot of great beaches, like not surf beaches, but you can do a lot of kayaking there. There's a cool guest house there called Groundswell. You can rent a room there. They got a nice bar there with some local craft brews on tap. And with St. Peter's, there's a great fish and chips place called Jig's Takeout. So that's always worth a visit. So it's really this kind of unexplored area of Cape Breton that people don't think about, but definitely worth checking out. And you have the Bredor Lakes nearby as well.
How far from Sydney is it? Did you say that?
It's an hour and a half. So anytime that I'm visiting Cape Breton, I always try to get to Point Michaud
before
but if
you
I'm
go.
staying, well, I'll try to hit it on the way down if I can. But typically I'm leaving later in the day, so it'll be kind of a mission that I'll wake up at like 5 a.m, drive for an hour and a half, surf for a couple hours, and drive back. So it's a bit of a commitment getting there for sure.
Yeah, so like Charles said, you can rent gear at each of these beaches. But if you are visiting from away and on a surf journey, you may as well just rent it for the whole trip and go see all these places, right? Good food, good adventures. There's also camping next to most of these places too. I know that.
Absolutely.
Something to mention.
Yeah, in St. Peter's, there's a campsite.
This is about the number twos, the runners up. This is the B-side. I call it honorable mention.
I also want to talk about some honorable mentions. There's a couple of other beaches that I don't want to leave out. We don't want to leave out. We want to talk about them. And that's sort of on the South Shore. There's a couple beaches that also rent gear. I know that you'll hear of Cherry Hill, but I don't think that they rent at Cherry Hill, do they?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, that's a good surf spot, but maybe not so much for beginners because there's access is a bit different and there's not as much rental gear. But I do know that Risser's Beach, which is about, I don't know, would you say that's an hour from Halifax?
Maybe a little more, but not that much more.
It's when you get to the South Shore of Nova Scotia, you start hitting really like white sandy beaches and you start forgetting where you are. It's this weird place where you see like lots of pine trees and spruce trees and white sandy beaches. It's really something to behold, and lots of white granite rock kind of on your drive down. But once you hit Bridgewater, you know you're close to Risser's Beach.
Absolutely.
And Risser's Beach also has they've only been in operation for 2 or 3 years now, maybe more. I might be misspeaking, but there's this new rental and surf lesson place called Swell Time. Apparently, like really good folk. I think my daughter is going to do a little surf camp with them this year. And Risser's Beach is just this awesome. The South Shore of Nova Scotia is something to go see. I mean, you're going to have all these amazing like little towns, like cute little fishing towns that have amazing food, amazing like drink opportunities, really good. There's so much like fishing culture that is just amazing to just drink right up. Another great beach to go to is even further south. You're looking at, I'd say almost 2 hours away from Halifax, South Shore. You go past Liverpool and it's called Somerville Beach. Somerville Beach is lovely. There's some camping around the area, but also there's this really nice boutique kind of hotel right on the beach called the Quarterdeck, and you can stay there. They also have a surf shop that's kind of I think a part of the hotel that you can rent boards as well, and you can also get lessons. I think it's called the Rosignol surf shop. It's not as consistent as a beach as Martinique, but on a really good day you can get some really nice beginner waves, and on a really big day you can get really good waves for like the more experienced surfer. But
down that way as well, White Point is far away, which is the resort there, and they have a beach that the public can access. You can surf there,
and I believe at White Point, I know that guests can rent boards there, but I'm not sure if people that aren't at the hotel, I'm not sure if they have access to it, but I would definitely sneak and surf there too. It's pretty good.
That's cool. I didn't know White Point rented boards. That's cool.
I think they have.
I think they do in the summer, like summer season. If you know.
And there's also Western Head, which is close by in Liverpool. You kind of drive through the town and go to Western Head, but that's not for beginners, I don't think. I think that's a little bit more. It's a tad bit more advanced.
Yeah, some great surf from Western Head.
Yeah, definitely. And Hunts Point is a great spot too, but definitely not for the faint of heart. Well, I think we talked about the beginner beaches, the good family-friendly surf beaches of Nova Scotia, and it's that time again for the always intriguing final question from Charles. Take it away, Charles.
This is Charles.
Okay, this week the question is a two-parter. So I'm going to read both questions so you can think about the second question, but we would respond to the first question first. So the first question, music, books, movies, do you consider them to be more family or friends? Why? The second part of the question, when it comes to music, books, or movies, who is your best friend or family member? Example. So, for example, like an album, a movie, a book for each. So, going back to the first question.
Oh my gosh.
Music, books, movies, do you consider them to be more family or friends? Why?
I would say family, because they're there when you need them.
Oh, nice answer.
I'm also going family, and I don't have a great line like that.
Just use that one.
However, because they're just kind of the good ones are like they're always around. They kind of you have a deep connection with them somehow, and I would link that with family.
Yeah, you keep them. Like,
Yeah,
a good album you've got with you until you die.
yeah, it's part of you and good memories, and they're there.
This is a hard one, Charles. I don't know. I feel like they're really, when you connect to something like media like that, I feel like it becomes a part of you. So yeah, family, I guess. I mean, it's like it's you. It becomes more than just this thing that some random person wrote. It becomes part of your life. So yeah, I'd say family.
Right. I'm going to say friends. The reason that I say friends is that you can choose who your friends are.
Oh my
and
gosh.
those solid friends that you have, you really connect with. And those are people that you can have a connection with through life. Family, and I'm lucky to have a great family, but sometimes family is kind of thrust upon you. And you have family members that maybe you don't really want to hang out with, but you kind of have to. So
Your family members are going to listen to this, Charles.
and I have a great family, but that was kind of my take on it. So it's
but just to argue, sometimes you can't choose what you respond to with like I think music. Like sometimes there's going to be music, and I don't think I chose that, like that song that I'm going to fall in love with. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, why do I like this? I don't care. It's awesome. I love it.
But it's like when you meet like someone cool, like a new friend. We're sort of like, there's 10 people in this room. Why are the two of us becoming
Well, it's like
buds?
Dave here. I didn't choose him. He just like showed up in my life, and all of a sudden we're like texting each other. Oh, this guy.
Came in like a wrecking ball.
Okay, so the second part of this question, it sounds like everyone chose family besides me. So when it comes to music, books, or movies, who is your favorite family member? One example for each: an album, a movie, and a book.
Rapid fire. You won't be judged at the gates with this answer, except Charles's family will judge him.
Fair enough.
I love my family.
So maybe we'll do so we'll go album, a movie, and a book. We'll go round table. So album,
Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Marriage, Attack in Black.
Evil Empire, Rage Against the Machine.
Excellent choice.
And just so you guys know, I bought it on vinyl today.
I would say family right there. Rage Against the Machine, family.
Yeah.
Family.
Rage all day. What about yours, Charles?
I'm gonna go with Weezer, the Blue Album.
Excellent choice.
That's a great one too.
Okay, movie.
Shawshank Redemption.
Back to the Future.
Scent of a Woman.
Whoa.
Hooah!
That's a good one. That's good.
Yeah, that is a great
What
film.
about you, Charles?
Heat.
Heat. Excellent.
Yeah.
I was afraid you were going to say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That would be up there. It has to
Yeah.
a bit more time, a few more viewings.
Yeah.
And book.
Bright, Shiny Morning.
Nice.
Freedom from the Known.
Rule of the Bone by Russell Banks.
Play It As It Lays, Joan Didion.
There's so many albums I would pick for this question.
That was hard.
Rage was good.
Right.
And would you answer the question differently if it was sort of like, okay, who's your favorite family member album? Who's your favorite family member band?
I like you were on point with Rage, I have to say. I also keep it's not in the same vein, but Nirvana Unplugged.
That's fantastic.
That one will be around forever.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fantastic.
Rage, Nirvana Unplugged.
Bob Marley Legend is one of
Bob
mine.
Marley,
like that
yeah.
thing will be with me for
Neil
life.
Young Harvest.
Chili Peppers, like, and not even I was going to say not even the old stuff, but the one I was about to then refer to is from like 99. But even when they came out with Californication and stuff, like,
No, but Blood Sugar Sex
oh yeah,
Magic
for
is
sure.
Like
those are like two different evolutions of Red Hot Chili Peppers, but like
That was like a second phase. That album was
that was
great,
like second phase, but it was good.
Californication was incredible.
That's when like the new sound of Chili Peppers came out, and I thought it was on point. Like it was good stuff.
Rick Rubin.
Thanks for those questions, Charles. Those were great. Thanks for talking about all our favorite beaches. We've all enjoyed them. Martinique, I definitely think is the hit in the group. But thank you, everybody. I've been Jared Gates, your host.
I've been David Roger.
I'm still Josh I.
I'm Charles.
Thanks, everyone. Adios. Thanks for listening to Nova Kooks. This has been our 5th episode. Join us next time for more kooky surf moments, beginner surf tips, music and movie talk, eccentric questions from Charles. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more Nova Kook adventures. Thanks so much, and be well.